National Public Radio's All Things Considered on
Okay. Hello. Just give me one sec. We have to wait 2 minutes, but I figured I'd start getting the stream set up.
We want to hear your voice. If you have any thoughts or opinions on any of the stories you've heard on All Things Considered, or if you'd like to talk about something else that is happening in Fredonia and
Okay, I can see the chat now. So the one of you that are here, I can see your chat. So that's good. I couldn't last time, so I apologize if anybody left anything in the chat. I didn't see it. Okay, let me plug in my computer. Where's the... Oh boy, that could be a problem. That's why. It's gonna play copyrighted music. My channel's gonna get taken down. Oh no. Okay. 1 second. I don't want to start too early. Okay. All right, we're gonna start doing it. Pause this. Okay. We should be live. It's saying we are on the air. Let me make sure. Okay. Hello? I don't know. I'm just gonna assume so. So, what is this? Okay, interesting. All right, let's start. Hello, everybody. I'm Chloe Kwolek, and welcome back to VGS Let's Talk Gaming. So, this is actually our first episode. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Okay. This is our third episode. I think I might have said first. And we're going to do another review of updates of gaming from the past 2 weeks or so, even before that. Things maybe I didn't cover in the first episode when we did updates, because I know last week we did psychology stuff, if anybody missed that. And before we begin, since we're already on the topic, I just want to remind you guys that next week will be our spooky Halloween episode. Let me know if you can see me all right. Okay. So we're going to discuss horror games. It's going to be really fun. I'll explain a little better at the end of the show, just to make sure we have a chance to get through everything today. But if you have any suggestions for games that you want to discuss or you want to hear about, just let me know. You can contact me via Instagram DM. I say this every time I know. At Chloe Kwolek, so CHLOEKOWALYK. I just realized I can send that in the chat. That's really smart. I should do that. There you go. I don't know if you can click on that, but that's at least the spelling. So back to this week. Once again, the show is going to run for about 45-50 minutes just because of COVID. I need to sanitize everything, make sure it's safe for the next person that comes in. And we're going to talk about updates. So let's just get right into it. So Overwatch 2 actually has a release date. So the long-awaited arrival of Overwatch 2 is finally upon us. The release date is set for February 19th, 2021. So what can we expect from this new version of the game? Well, Overwatch 2 will introduce brand new game modes, including PvE modes. So PvE is player versus environment, for anyone who's not familiar with that. But PvE will be divided between story and hero missions. The story missions are part of the main campaign. So these story missions introduce ability modifications. Like, for example, heroes can pick up items that modify their existing abilities, which allows players to be more, or to explore more diverse play styles. So just different types of playing, I suppose. So hero missions is another thing where players can level up heroes and unlock modifications to their abilities, but these won't carry over to player versus player modes because that would not be fair. And there's also a new player versus player mode called Push. So the game mode Push, its main objective is to help an Omnic move a small wall to the enemy's territory. So the enemies will simultaneously be attempting to do the same thing. So that's why it's Push, because you're pushing back and forth. Yeah, that's basically the simplest explanation. But moving on to which heroes will be in the game. Sojourn is the only known hero coming to Overwatch 2, but a lot of the existing characters are actually getting remodels. I've never played Overwatch. I know enough about the game just from watching other people play it, but I kind of wanted to get Overwatch, but now I'm thinking I might as well just wait for Overwatch 2 to come out, and I think I'm going to try and get it for my Xbox. So that sounds like a lot of fun to me. Everything sounds really interesting. But yeah, that's pretty much all we know. Hello, Nicholas Kowalik. Hi, Dad. I can see your stuff. Okay. I'm glad you can hear me. That's good. I don't have headphones in. I could probably do that with a different pair of headphones, but I have to use my MP3 jack for the radio. So we'll figure that out. But if audio ever cuts out, just let me know. Anyway, so our next topic is the PlayStation 5 pre-order stock update. So PlayStation 5 consoles will be available to purchase in stores at launch. Target has actually confirmed that while PlayStation 5 pre-order stock is all sold out, so you can't pre-order it anymore because they're sold out due to high demand, customers will have a chance to get the PlayStation 5 in stores when the console actually launches on November 12th. So it's coming up, not too much of a wait. But it's going to be really difficult to get your hands on one of these consoles. This is because the PlayStation 5 will only be available with order pickup and drive-up orders. This is just to prevent customers from like camping outside the stores and maybe like spreading the virus. And it's just a safety concern. Because you see like on the news, like people waiting outside like for products. They want to avoid that this year to flatten the curve. So it has been suggested by Sony that there will be a regular supply of PlayStation 5 consoles throughout the coming months. Fans could also sign up for a website called Stock Informer. I'll send that in the chat if anyone is interested. I'm going to use the chat now that I recognize it's there. Okay. So if fans sign up for Stock Informer, I'm pretty sure it's free. You will get an up-to-date insight into availability, but it also shows where the PlayStation 5 was most recently in stock. So I think that's interesting because then you could see like where to go to get it when it releases. It's not out yet, November 12th. So the PlayStation 5 will also, continuing our discussion about the PlayStation 5, it'll let you record in-game voice chats and send them in for moderation. So my first thought when I was reading this is that it sounds really cool. I know countless times my friends and I have said something really funny in the voice chat, and we wish that we could have recorded it to look back at it later. And I feel like being able to record in-game voice chat will also allow for easier game commentary and funny moments to come, like people posting on their YouTube channels like videos of like something funny that happened when they were with their friends or something like that. And it'll also allow for easier game commentary for creators to just like kind of comment on what they're doing like in the game. I think that'll like make that a lot easier and smoother if you could just record the game chat. But there was an actual reason for this to be done, not just for fun. But PlayStation and Sony assume that this could help eliminate toxic behavior going forward. So if users continue to be racist or homophobic or other forms of inappropriate language during playing, they should be fully aware that other players will be able to provide evidence of this. So I'm hoping that this will make gaming a safer environment for everyone and that it can eliminate just harassment as a whole. I know that I personally have faced like sexism from Xbox Live chats. I mean, probably just middle schoolers, just being middle schoolers, but what can you do? It's Xbox Live, it's expected. It's not really a big deal to me, but I can definitely see how this could be really harmful to other gamers. And I really like the idea. I think it's going to be really impactful for the future of gaming, and I'm glad that Sony is recognizing this and is doing something to prevent it. Let me do actually no, we'll wait 5 minutes. Never mind. Don't listen to me. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is Call of Duty Modern Warfare is getting an update coming just in time for Halloween. For the first ever Halloween experience inside Warzone and Modern Warfare, the Saw and Texas Chainsaw Massacre universes are featured in The Haunting of Verdansk, which is a limited time event set to take place from October 20th to November 3rd. So update already came out. It's been out for 2 days. And in CallOfDuty.com's words, this Halloween-themed event will feature the trick-or-treat reward system, where supply boxes may either contain frights or frighteningly good blueprints and personalization items. So it's kind of like a wager, like trick or treat. You're either going to get a trick or a treat. So come prepared for infiltrations at day or night, as select modes feature a nighttime variant of Verdansk that includes more than a few Halloween-themed frights. Would you rather spend the night fighting both the living and the dead? Then prepare for Zombie Royale, which is like Fortnite. Royale, which is an undead twist on Battle Royale, where dead operators use unnatural powers to feast on the living in order to rejoin their ranks. So that'll be kind of like Fortnite is a Battle Royale game. So similar to that gameplay, I would assume. Modern Warfare multiplayer will also get into the Halloween spirit with limited time modes and effects, while the store is set to feature bundles that bring Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Billy the Puppet. That's the guy with the little spiral cheeks from Saw into the fray. So in other words, it's the devil's playground across Warzone and Modern Warfare, and no operator is safe from the terrors of All Hallows Eve. So right at the start of the Haunting of Verdansk, players can purchase bundles based on Saw and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So be ready to don the garb. This is the website's words of Billy the Puppet and the Saw bundle, and take an empty operator's choice to live or die in his own hands. Along with the Billy skin, which is for Mort, the Saw bundle features the phlebotomizer lethal equipment piece, that's a fun word, which is a special throwing knife that will drill into your enemies upon impact. And yes, it will be very bloody if it lands on a target. So there will be 2 Saw-themed blueprint weapons, 1 assault rifle and 1 shotgun, that are included in the bundle, as well as a cargo truck skin, a tricycle charm, and 4 other pieces of personalization content. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre bundle features the iconic crazed killer Leatherface from the films, and the legacy of this cannibalistic maniac whose mad reign of terror in 1974 was unlike anything ever seen before, and is set to live on through the Leatherface skin for Velikan, as well as the family heirloom LMG blueprint, complete, this is a very long sentence, complete with a unique stock attachment that allows an operator to wield the weapon like a chainsaw. So, sorry, one sec. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. Okay. As players are reintroduced to the malice of Leatherface, a clue as to what happened to the notorious murderer may even appear to those with a keen eye. So this bundle also includes the Anybody Home melee blueprint that turns this secondary into a one-handed hammer. So one side is going to be like a bone breaker and a meat tenderizer on the other side, which would be used in like a slaughterhouse, so it kind of fits the theme. As well as an SMG blueprint weapon, a vehicle horn, and 5 additional Texas Chainsaw Massacre themed items. I think this update seems really cool. I've never seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I have seen Saw. I'm too scared to watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre by myself. I'll admit it. It seems really scary, but I have seen Saw. I do like Saw a lot. I think it's unique. And I think that this update will add a really cool Halloween aspect to the game. So that's interesting. Let me do a sweeper. So we're gonna have to go like this. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay. I had to do this thing called a sweeper for the radio. Okay. Let me also switch the music on while we're at a little bit of a break. Okay, so that's going to be MP3. Okay. Let me just make sure that's okay. Sorry, guys, one sec. All right. Yeah, it's going. Okay, that's good news. All right. So I'm going to turn this mic on too. All right, how's that? Oh, that's better. Okay. All right. Sorry. Have to be patient with me. Where did my YouTube tab go? Oh no. Oh, there you are. Okay, I thought you weren't here. That was really scary. Okay, we're good. Okay, had to take a short intermission there. Okay, moving on. So next I wanted to kind of talk about the PlayStation Plus games that will be added for November 2020 because there's quite a list here. Oh my gosh, hi Caitlin. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna send you a heart. But yeah, I figured it would be good to talk about like the play. I did it wrong. That's embarrassing. There you go. Okay. I thought it would be good to talk about like the PlayStation Plus games that are playing for anyone or coming for anyone that plays PlayStation. So there's confirmed games and there's games that people are kind of theorizing. So first we'll just go through the confirmed games. So that is Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, my favorite, we'll talk about it. God of War, Infamous Second Son, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat 10 or X, Persona 5, Ratchet and Clank, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, another one of my favorites, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and Until Dawn. So all of these games are very popular with PlayStation. Sorry, my mask is being weird. Okay. I've actually played quite a few of these. I have a PlayStation 4, but yeah. Final Fantasy 15 is actually one of my favorites. I think you guys would enjoy that one. Another one I'd recommend for sure is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil series. I think I've mentioned that in every episode so far. The Last of Us is really good. I have Uncharted 4. That's very good. Until Dawn, we will definitely talk about next week for our horror games episode. But yeah, that's another one of my favorites. I have Monster Hunter World. That one, really unique, like exploration game. Very fun. The Last Guardian is very innocent and pure. Fallout 4, Detroit Become Human, classics. So a lot of really good, well-known titles coming to PlayStation Plus. Yes, Poogie. Poogie is the little pig. He's this little pig that just kind of walks around in Monster Hunter World. He's in all the Monster Hunter games, I'm pretty sure. And you can go up to him and you can pet him. And if you pet him wrong, like he gets mad at you and he like runs away. But if you pet him right, like he'll follow you around like the map. It's really cute. So those are the confirmed games for November 2020. And there's a couple of predicted games that people are looking at, and those are Bug Snacks, which I've never heard of personally, Battlefield 5, which is a big title, and Soul Calibur 6. I have Soul Calibur 6. I love it. It's a ton of fun. It's a fighting game. I definitely recommend it. There's a little bit of learning you kind of have to do with Soul Calibur, but nothing impossible. So we can't not talk about Game Pass games if we're going to talk about PlayStation games. So here are the predicted games that are being added to Xbox's Game Pass for November 2020. I looked, I didn't see anything confirmed. I'm not really sure why. It was really interesting. Maybe it's not out yet, but here's what people are theorizing will be out. So, Microsoft Flight Simulator, The Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, and Fallout 3. So, once again, I'm not sure why, but I couldn't find much coming out about the Game Pass. But I'm sure we can expect some fun games, especially with Gold as well, if you have Gold and Game Pass. Okay, so our next topic is a little bit of maybe like a future happening eventuality, I guess we could call it. Everything I'm going to say is alleged. Like, nothing here is confirmed. So, and that is GTA 6. I know this is very hyped up, but the next GTA title has been in development since 2012, but the production didn't begin properly until 2015. But even then, when they were focusing on it, the team, so this is Rockstar, that made GTA, if you don't know, they were focusing more on Red Dead Redemption 2, which many of you may know. Rockstar also made Red Dead Redemption 2, so they were more focusing on Red Dead Redemption than GTA 6 at the time, because Red Dead Redemption is out, so, and has been out for a while. But here's what's theorized from Reddit, which, you know how reliable Reddit is, but here's what people are talking about. I think it's interesting. So it's another Rockstar worldwide production. The codename is Project Americas. Okay, codenames, films use these too, to prevent like people from freaking out. Like, if someone's like shooting a film in your area, like, let's say it's like a Marvel Avengers movie, they're not going to call it a Marvel Avengers movie, because then everyone's going to freak out and they're all going to go and try and watch the movie being filmed. Video games do this too. They use a code name so people don't get like overly hyped and like disrupt their creative process. So yeah, the code name for GTA 6 is Project Americas. So people are saying that it will be set in both Vice City and a new fictional location based on Rio de Janeiro. Some linear missions will take place in Liberty City, but it isn't an open world. No, never mind. I'm not going to explain that. That's a whole other topic. The game will balance realism and arcade, but it won't be as realistic as Red Dead Redemption 2. I need to slow down. So Red Dead Redemption 2 was very realistic. The graphics are gorgeous for that game. I personally really enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2. But, okay, what is happening? Oh my gosh. Okay, I had to make sure the radio thing was still going, because I thought I heard it, but I wasn't sure. I don't know if you can hear it, probably not. Okay, so despite the supposed leaks of multiple protagonists, Reddit is saying that there will be one playable protagonist, and it will be a male character. And it'll be, like, the game will be set in the 70s, 1970s, 1980s. People are also thinking that there will be a giant prison, which will play a part in the game. It'll feature a chapter system, much like in Red Dead Redemption 2, how it's like divided into chapters. There's also speculation that weather is going to be a heavy focus of the game, such as like hurricanes or floods or something like that. So since if this is going to take place in the 70s and 80s, there will be older, rare classic cars, and the economy will be in full effect as well. So there'll be like inflation, and cars will get more expensive as time progresses. So People are also speculating that this is very much inspired by a Netflix series called Narcos, if anyone is familiar with that. And they want to have an incredible 70s and 80s soundtrack. I would be very much down for that. I think that sounds awesome. It's also saying, or people are also saying, that you can only have 2 weapons on your person. You can't have anything in your back pocket like in Red Dead Redemption 2. People are also thinking that there's going to be a lot of reading subtitles, which is like watching an episode of Narcos, is what people are theorizing. If it is inspired by Narcos, this is all like, no one's sure really, but people are thinking that's going to be next gen only, so not PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. So it'll be PlayStation 5 and Xbox Project Scarlet. So GTA 6 is now Rockstar's primary focus, alongside another title, which might be Bully 2. The game is still in pre-alpha, so names, locations, details could change, and they probably will. And there's no ETA on a release date. So anything you're seeing about a release date for GTA 6 is not true. There is no release date yet. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation going around, but I am happy to hear that this is Rockstar's focus. So we should see it soon. I'd say maybe a year or two. I don't know. Don't take my word for it. But yeah, so I think it's interesting. I'm excited to see if people's ideas and theories will actually like hold up. But I don't know. Guess we'll have to wait and see. So here's our next topic. The Witcher Netflix series. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. I haven't watched it. I watched some of the first episode. It looks cool from what I've watched. But here's kind of an update on what's happening with The Witcher's Netflix series. I've played The Witcher 3. Actually, no. Caitlin, if you're still here, she knows I'm too scared to keep going because there's this one level 6 water hag that always gets me, so I'm scared of it. But I've played most of the game. But back to the series. So far, we know that there will be a second season, as the show was actually renewed for another season before the first season was even released. But with coronavirus and the inability to safely shoot episodes, the second season has been delayed. But the crew has been cleared to resume filming, and they are adhering to COVID testing twice a week. But while we are waiting for season 2, Netflix has also announced plans to develop a Witcher animated film that should hold our appetites in the meantime. Okay. So it's going to be a prequel titled The Witcher. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Okay. The new animated film will be a prequel titled The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, and this is what we can expect long before mentoring Geralt. Vesemir begins his own journey as a Witcher after the mysterious Deglin claims him through the law of surprise. So it's a lot of like Witcher lore. If you're not familiar with The Witcher, that sounds like another language. Yeah, I agree. It does sound like another language. I kind of know what they're talking about. But that's not all. There are also plans for a live-action prequel series called The Witcher Blood Origin. And it's probably worth keeping an eye on season 2 for potential clues about what will be explored on the show. There's a lot of Witcher content coming out soon. And this like really made me want to watch the Netflix series, as if I can add another Netflix series to my list. There's noises outside. But yeah, I think it sounds really interesting. Yeah. So I'm going to do a promo really quick. Okay, one sec. Okay, I don't know if you guys on the YouTube live could hear that, but they're just little things that I have to do every once in a while. But anyway, moving on. This is breaking news. I got an alert about this on my phone. I thought it was interesting to talk about. It's not 100% gaming, but it's in the technology realm. Quibi is shutting down, so online streaming services have seen yet another casualty. We saw with Mixer, the first show. So the streaming service Quibi, or Quibi, I don't know. I like Quibi better, has announced that it will be shutting down. So Quibi was designed for people who consume entertainment in short little increments on their smartphones. But the coronavirus actually forced would-be subscribers away from kinds of like on-the-go situations. So people aren't like leaving their house so much. They're not kind of like running around as much. People are locked in their homes, quarantining. But Quibi eventually allowed its subscribers to watch Quibi's shows on like television. But the streaming service, which has their shows in 5 to 10 increment like chapters, was actually formatted to fit a smartphone screen. So there was a lot of issues translating it over to a television screen because it's like if you look at this compared to like a TV, it's a major size difference. So there were a lot of issues there. And it was also facing a much lower than expected viewership. So I believe this is because it was competing with Zoom and stuff like Zoom, like Google Meet. And like you can't compete with Zoom. When you think of the pandemic, Zoom is one of the first things that you think about. So I'm not sure. I think that's unfortunate for Quibi. I don't know. A lot of streaming services that are shutting down. You have like your major, you have Zoom, you have, if you want to go into gaming, you think of Discord, you think of Twitch, YouTube, like I'm streaming on right now, which isn't just for gaming, but you know. I don't know. I think it's tragic. I mean, Quibi was only 6 months into production, and then, like, everything just kind of fell apart for them. So, yeah, moving on. That was kind of a short one, but, you know. Okay, so our final topic, there's another thing I want to talk about, but I just want to make sure time permits. So, our next topic is something that I'm super hyped about, you guys. Little Nightmares 2 has been announced. I can't be more excited about it. I played Little Nightmares 1. I loved it. I have it. I have like the whole kit thingy where you got the little figurine of 6 and like the soundtrack, which is amazing. If you want, you can look up the Little Nightmares soundtrack on YouTube, and it's just so cool. It's so immersive. But Little Nightmares 2 is announced, and it has a release date. It's February 11th, 2021. So February is really going to be an exciting month for me, at least. A lot of stuff's coming out in February. But Little Nightmares 2 will be playable on the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. So you can use Steam to get it on PC, basically. It'll also arrive on Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 at a post-launch date in 2021. So once those two consoles are out, then Little Nightmares will be available for release on them as well. But they're going to have it available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC, what have you. So gamers who purchase Little Nightmares 2 on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One will receive a free next-gen upgrade. So like if, let's say I have the Xbox One and I buy the Xbox Series X, which is an upgrade, it's a free upgrade for the game to be playable on Xbox Series X, even though it's backwards compatible mostly. Most games are. The machine made a weird noise. Okay. So Little Nightmares 2 actually mimics the original game's side-scrolling gameplay, just like Inside and Limbo did as well, where you're kind of like stuck on one screen. So like this like entire background would be idle and you would be moving through the background like this. So that's a side scroller basically. That's like how Mario is. That's like a classic example, like Super Mario. But similar to the first Little Nightmares game, the sequel often switches between 3D and 2D perspectives, even though like it's a side scroller. So the side scroller would be 2D. The 3D would be like seeing the stuff in the background. Like this is further back, and then you have like the wall back there. That's something really unique about the game, and a lot of side scrollers that I think is really interesting. Another parallel that you will find between the sequel and the original is stealth mechanics. So you'll have to like tiptoe behind enemies to progress. Little Nightmares 2 is really about the fascinating dynamic between two kids on a journey to discover the dark secrets of a place called the Signal Tower. After dodging a bloodthirsty hunter, escaping the sadistic teacher, and other terrifying monstrous characters. If you remember in Little Nightmares, like the first one, like they were like the chefs, and the chefs were really scary. They had like knives, and so they were scary looking. They were like all like deformed, like not deformed, they were like misshapen. Yeah, it was really creepy. I remember that. The two kids will be 6, which was the girl in the yellow raincoat from the first one, and there's a new kid. His name it's Mono. I'm not sure if it's Mono or Mono, but Mono is like like a disease. So I'm not sure if that's what they're intending, but moving on. So the Signal Tower that I mentioned is an evil place that controls the Little Nightmares world by sending malevolent signals to residents via TV screens. So they're like hypnotized by their screens. Little Nightmares 2 gives us insight to the blood-curdling world beyond the vessel, where we were in the first game. So Pale City is the name of the metropolis that Mono, and 6 find themselves in. Although Pale City is plagued with dreadful secrets, malevolent monsters, and evil atmospheric vibes, there is something kind of whimsical about it, like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas kind of way. So there's hands that crawl like spiders and eyeballs melting out of monsters' eye sockets. But despite the grotesque imagery, Little Nightmares 2 is like the original, very visually intriguing. There's rotting corpses of the forest, twisted tree roots of an underground tunnel. There's a lot of ugliness in the Pale City, but the art is really beautiful. The art style of the Little Nightmares franchise is just gorgeous, even though it's depicting something ugly. Besides the forest and Signal Tower, other locations Mono and 6 explore include a hospital filled with prosthetic limbs hanging from ceilings and a dreary, bare-bones classroom devoid of color and light. So I really want to get Little Nightmares 2. It sounds really interesting. I really did like the first game. I'm not sure if I 100% completed it, but the game is definitely one of my favorites. I really enjoyed it. Let me go like this. Okay. But another thing that I really wanted to talk about, and I'm really happy that we have time to talk about it, is the music in video games, which I know it's not long enough to be its own segment for a video game on its own, or for a video game topic on its own for the show. But I think that we can include it today because we have time, and it was relevant to me last night. So video game music is actually made, this is me going off script, is actually made to increase concentration. So you think about like the soundtrack behind games, like what does that soundtrack add to the game? So Like for horror games, for example, which we can talk about this next week, I keep saying, it adds like suspense or like fear, psychological stuff. I should have talked about it last week. But the soundtrack always adds something to the game. So if you think about Mario Kart, for example, which is relevant for me, the Mario Kart soundtrack is really fast, and on the last lap, it gets faster. So Mario Kart music, the reason that it's so like memorable is because it helps you concentrate on the race and it like hypes you up. Like I know like Coconut Mall is a good example of that. And it's actually been like a trend on TikTok